Thank you for joining us. I'm Megan Reed, Director of Marketing for Engage Sustainability Solutions. The field of ESG is a very hot topic and can be confusing, overwhelming, and complicated, often at odds with what we know to be true. In fact, many businesses aren't clear what ESG is, how ESG can help, or why it's even significant for their business. If you are like many of our clients, you may be addressing these issues formally for the first time, or perhaps you've been given the responsibility of creating an ESG program for your company and don't know where or how to start. Our industry has environmental health and safety guidelines that are the best in the world. ESG is taking this just a step further. In this video, our founder, Dawn Racy, will provide practical and actionable steps you and your organization can take as you begin your ESG journey. We will discuss what does ESG mean, why ESG matters, and where do you start. We hope you find this video valuable. Please let us know if we can help in any way.
Thank you, Megan. Okay, so let's talk about ESG. ESG is an acronym for Environmental, Social, and Governance. We'll briefly talk about each one and why they're important. Let's start with environmental. Environmental has to do with activities related to protecting our environment and taking action to use our natural resources in a responsible and sustainable way. Environmental factors include air and water pollution, biodiversity, carbon emissions, deforestation, energy consumption, eliminating waste, global warming, and water scarcity, just to name a few. Next is social. Social refers to the societal aspects of business, such as our interactions with customers, employees, and the communities we serve. Social factors include how we attract and retain talent, community involvement, consumer engagement, data privacy and security, diversity, ethnicity, and inclusion, human rights, safety and security, and social justice issues. Governance refers to the systems, policies, and procedures by which an organization is controlled and operates. This includes anti-corruption, how a company is led by its board of directors and executive leadership, compliance with rules, regulations, and laws, its internal controls and management systems, policies and procedures, and most importantly, risk management. Each of these topics represent issues that, if not managed well, can have a material impact on your business. So why does ESG matter? As we went through this list, it should be apparent that these are topics that can be critically important to the performance of your company. They're also important to your customers and employees. So much so that business executives are frequently asked how their business addresses the numerous environmental, social, and governance challenges in a meaningful and sustainable way. In fact, 92% of the S&P 500 businesses have already released public ESG reports and made pledges on how they'll work to reduce emissions and address specific ESG topics. This reporting is all in response to pressure from investors, activists, shareholders, social media, customers, and your own employees. Having an ESG strategy benefits your company in a variety of ways. Let's talk about a few of them. First, the world is changing. Climate change and dramatic weather events are having a huge impact on our businesses. There are dramatic shifts in buying behavior. We've seen how the millennial and Gen Z generations have changed the way we purchase and consume products. And companies must fall in line with their priorities. Second, a new generation of investor is emerging along with them. Demands for stock in companies that are in line with ESG philosophies are rising among both institutional and individual investors. Being part of an ESG portfolio is advantageous because it gives you access to larger capital markets. A focus on ESG can have a favorable impact on stock performance. ESG-focused equity mutual funds and ETFs often outperform their traditional competitors. It's obvious that ESG metrics have the potential to have a beneficial effect on your bottom line, whether this is because companies are trying to stay ahead of their competition or changing business sentiments. Investors are driving the demand for ESG in the marketplace. A growing number of money managers, including the largest in the world, want public companies to meet specific ESG disclosure requirements. If you don't, they're not going to invest in you. And third, ESG and supply chain audits. Regardless of your size, this will become a huge issue for your company. Other advantages to consider of ESG reporting include avoiding corporate activism, establishing your company as an industry leader, building a reputation that attracts top talent, and providing assurance to the marketplace that your products and services are designed and sold for the good of customers and society. Most importantly, ESG reporting provides you with the opportunity to tell your company's unique story, attracting a whole new audience for your goods and services. If ESG is not a common practice in your business or industry, you can set a new standard of performance and lead the charge. Socially conscious business practices have intrinsic value, and becoming an ESG industry leader could have a positive effect on your revenue and your brand. Implementing ESG best practices is one of the best ways to position your business for success. So where do you start? We're laying out 6 key steps to get you moving in the right direction and to provide a roadmap to develop your ESG strategy. Number 1, educate. Executive leadership must be educated on the importance of ESG reporting and the likely impact that ESG-related issues are having within your industry and your business. We urge you to investigate industry associations, many of which have established guidelines and recommendations for ESG reporting for your specific industry. If you get stuck, just give us a call. Number 2, it's critical you obtain executive support. The executive team must be totally committed, and there has to be a desire to allocate resources to achieve your ESG goals. Your executive team should be talking to their peers in the industry and looking at their competition. ESG reporting is a significant commitment and investment. As an executive, it's your responsibility to position your company for growth, profitability, and reduced risk. ESG reporting can help you do all of that. Number 3, choose the most important or material topics to focus on. Disclosure requirements differ by industry, and not all ESG issues will be pertinent to your business. The key is to focus on material issues that have a reasonable likelihood of affecting your company's financial position, operational performance, and risk profile. If your company has significant emissions, focus on the environmental aspect. If your company is labor intensive, perhaps you're focusing on social issues. And if your company is an industry that's heavily regulated, governance may be your biggest risk. Number 4, recognize how ESG topics are measured. There are many ESG reporting frameworks like the Global Reporting Initiative, GRI, the Sustainability Accounting Standards Board, SASB, the Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosures, TCFD, and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, just to name a few. These organizations produce frameworks that outline the primary topics that drive ESG reporting requirements. Many of these frameworks have industry-specific guidelines to provide an additional level of detail. Research the various ESG disclosure frameworks and reporting requirements. It's important to research numerous frameworks to ascertain which is material to your business and which framework aligns with your company's core values. Most of these frameworks are free and can be easily found online with a simple search. Number 5, examine what your competition's doing. If your competitors have already prepared an annual ESG report, it means 2 things. First, you're already behind your competition, but more importantly, they may have done some of the legwork for you by identifying specific risks and given you an opportunity to benchmark your performance against theirs. And finally, number 6, engage with your employees, investors, customers, and community. Communicating with your stakeholders is the single most important part of your ESG journey. It's important to solicit feedback on what areas of ESG are most important to you, your stakeholders, and industry. Then, communicate openly to share your progress and to keep your stakeholders engaged and educated on that progress. ESG is a commitment to continuous improvement and requires the company to provide updates each year on the progress of those commitments. Results won't appear right away, but perseverance with ESG can help you improve performance and prosper over the long haul. Thank you. We're grateful that you chose to spend your time with us today. If you found this session valuable, please share it freely. If you get stuck or need some assistance, please reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. Over the next several years, ESG reporting will become common practice, regardless of whether you are a publicly traded company or a privately held company. It's important your company establishes its philosophy and standards regarding ESG reporting. We welcome the opportunity to lend a guiding hand. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.